wonderful scuba divers, welcome to Scuba Diving Magazine. Right here I have the Apeks DSX dive computer, which is a large colour screen dive computer with 5 different diving modes built into it. It's got wireless air transmitter pairing, Bluetooth GPS positioning, a oxygen gas analyzer integration, and a lot of clever automations and user customizable alerts and functions inside. The computer itself has a titanium outer bezel, which is both strong and lightweight, with overmolded rubber sections to protect from basic bumps and scrapes. 3-button user interface lets you navigate the dive computer screens and functions, and on each screen the function of each button press is listed right next to it on the screen so that you can confirm which button to press or hold for the desired function. The unit itself, without straps, measures 80 by 64 by 32 millimeters and weighs in at 177 grams. The screen itself is 60 by 42 millimeters and comes fitted as standard with a scratch protector. You have 2 strap options for the DSX, twin elastic fabric straps with quick release buckles or bungee loops depending on your preference. The DSX comes supplied with a reusable protective storage case to keep your dive computer from getting bashed around during transport and storage. On the inside, the DSX has 5 diving modes: OC, which is open circuit both for nitrox and trimix, CC for closed circuit rebreathers, SM, a side mount mode where both tank pressures are displayed on the main screen for both of your cylinders simultaneously, gauge mode where the DSX acts as a depth sensor and a bottom timer, and SM gauge, which is gauge mode but with both tank pressures displayed. Underneath the 2.4-inch color TFT LCD screen is a rechargeable lithium-ion battery that can be topped up by a powered USB port and cable, as well as the supplied induction charging mat that you can place the DSX on top of to top the battery up. Wireless air integration can pair the DSX to up to 6 wireless air transmitters to monitor the tank pressure of multiple cylinders all on the go, and you can allocate different gas mixes to specific wireless air transmitters in the computer. And the DSX has a semi-permanent pairing system where you input the serial number of the transmitter that you want to pair with the DSX, and then the computer remembers that transmitter until you basically remove it. It's handy so that you don't have to manually pair the transmitter each dive. It remembers from your previous diving. The DSX also has a GPS function inside where on the surface you can save your location for logging dives and dive sites, as well as returning to exact locations using the Wayfinder feature that, combined with the digital compass, will direct you to a desired location, such as an entry point or a point of interest. Or you can just use the digital compass to set bearings and reciprocal headings. An additional piece of gear that comes with the DSX is the O2 analyzer. This lets you analyze your own gas mixes and input them directly into the DSX dive computer automatically. The analyzer uses a standard R22 oxygen cell that doesn't come in the box for shelf life reasons, but you plug the analyzer into your DSX and you test your gas mix as normal, except now your gas mix is being automatically input into your computer for you, so you can save some time and you can save up to 6 different gas mixes. And while you can input tri-mixtures into the DSX, the analyzer only measures the oxygen content, so you will need a separate helium sensor to test those tri-mixes and then input them manually. Bluetooth on the inside lets you pair your dive computer with your smartphone and other devices through the Divalog Plus app, and it also allows you to control your dive computer settings from your phone, download and view dive logs and profile data, add locations, notes and other details from your dives, as well as share your dives on social media if you want to. The computer itself will remember the basic information from the past 99 dives as a dive log, and on your 100th dive it will start to replace the oldest dive with subsequent dives. You have a choice of sample rates from 2 seconds to 60 seconds for either more precise records throughout the dive or to maximize storage. For example, if you set your dive computer to record every 2 seconds, you can save just over 200 hours of dive logs, which is pretty good, but when it's set to 60 seconds, that increases to 6,500 hours. The DSX has both audible and vibration alerts that you have full control over. So if you don't want a computer that beeps at you, you can turn the audible alerts off, but you still have the vibration to get your attention so that you can read the color screen. You also have a host of user set alerts when diving, including turn pressure and end pressures that will alert you when your tank pressure drops to set pressures to alert you when to either turn the dive and when to actually end the dive. END, or equivalent narcotic depth, where you can input a depth for your gas mixture to basically when you would start to expect the same narcotic effect as when breathing air. WOB, or work of breathing, that lets you set a depth alert for when the work of breathing air is comfortable for the diver after breathing a lighter helium mix. And ICD, or isobaric counter diffusion, which will alert you if a certain gas mix puts you at risk of isobaric counter diffusion if you try to switch to it. The decompression model used inside the DSX is the Buhlmann ZHL16C algorithm with user customizable gradient factors, as well as a standardized set high, medium, low conservatisms when it's in sport mode, or in tech mode, of course, you can set your own gradient factors. Also inside you have a slate function and my info, where you can upload and store 10 images on the DSX that you can refer to during the dive, like maps, word responses to your buddy, compass headings that you need to remember, and depths and things like that. Anything that you might need on the dive to look at or show another diver. There's also a My Info screen where you can input your emergency contact information, things like allergies, blood type, things that should something bad happen to you, all the information's on your dive computer. And you also have achievements where you get a little ribbon to celebrate the number of dives that you do with your DSX, which is quite nice. As far as customization, you can change the color of the titles on the main screens, but the values are typically color coded by the computer. White is good, yellow is questionable, and red requires attention right now. Either side of the dive screen is a bar chart. On the left, your ascent rate. If you're ascending at an acceptable rate, it stays down in the green. As you go faster, it goes into yellow and then eventually into red when you're going too fast. On the right-hand side, you have either a nitrogen loading or no decompression graph, or you can switch that to a gradient factor graph, where each segment represents 5% of the gradient factor, so you can see where you are right now on that chart. So if you're kind of hanging, you can just see it drop down. You can also flip the screen if you want the buttons on the top side instead of the bottom, depending on what you need or prefer. And I think that's about all of the main features and highlights inside of the DSX. So let's see how it arrives and the box that it comes in. So this is how it arrives, in a pretty cool, very Apeks styly, like EVA case to you can reuse and protect it. It has a sleeve on the outside of it with some information, Bluetooth, GPS, 2.4-inch TFT screen, 80-hour battery operation. There's an asterisk next to that, so I'm sure that depends on how bright it is and whether you use the Bluetooth and the wireless air transmitter and all that good stuff. Wireless charging, 150-meter water resistant, 3D digital compass, multi-language, hoseless air integration, and gas analyzer. Just more information on the back. There's some QR codes to get to the Diver Plus app, so you can pair it with your phone and download the apps and like download your diving logs, update the user settings on the dive computer from your phone. Very, very quick and intuitive. What's inside of the box: the computer itself, the gas analyzer, wireless charger base, and a charging cable. So getting the sleeve off, you got the Apeks logo on there. It's that like semi-rigid EVA case, so it's going to protect it from knocks and bumps and stuff, but it's not completely crush-proof. I wouldn't drive over this. Double zipper to get in and out of it. And then on the inside, you have lots of bits of paper. So the first one is all about the gas analyzer, how to fit an O2 cell by the looks of it, dive computer safety and reference manual, DSX essential operation quick start guide. You get the dive computer itself, and in its little like recess, of course, you can't fit a strap to it, so to be able to reuse the case, you're going to have to take that little insert out and reuse it, or at least just get rid of that insert. So yeah, the computer itself, which obviously comes in the box, you also get the O2 analyzer system, so it doesn't come with an oxygen cell just because they have shelf lives, and yeah, chances are by the time that Apeks have packed it away and then put it in their warehouse and then it gets ordered by a dealer, it gets shipped over to them, it sits in their warehouse before you actually get it. They don't want that kind of issue, and that's going to like jack the price up even more, so you just invest in your own O2 cell. Yeah, you plug that end into the computer, you fit an O2 cell, and then you just test the nitrox mix, and that installs it into the computer. In this little mesh section, so this is the wireless charging mat. This has a USB-C fitting, the modern like USB like charging cable, and that's one method of recharging the DSX. You also get this cable, which is just, well, what's that, USB 2, I think it's called, and that's a faster way of charging, but of course then you do need a full-on like powered port, and you do have to plug it in as opposed to the convenience of just putting it on a mat. There's another USB cable in here. Oh, so that's the USB-C that you would use to plug into that wireless charging mat. You also get a section of bungee. This is quite skinny. This is probably like 3mm fabric elastic bungee, because you have two different strap options for this. You can either use bungee to thread through the little holes, or you use these. There's two of these in here. These are elastic fabric straps, and they have pinch clip buckles so you can quickly undo it, and they have, oh, that's quite a nice feature, they have a locking mechanism on it. Instead of being like spring loaded and you just pull to adjust it, once you've clamped that down, it's properly like clamped down to size, so that way you don't have to readjust it between dives. You just pinch clip it on and off. So yeah, a pair of those, nothing else in there. And then underneath here you have another mesh section with a zipper down the center. So yeah, I think they really did intend that, and there's a lot of space in there so that once it arrives you kind of store that away somewhere, and then you reuse the case just like this. So let's have a quick nose around the DSX. So here we can see the overall dive computer. It does come, as I said, with a protective, like scratch resistant film over the front, so that's going to help protect it. It's a little recessed, maybe about 1 millimeter below this rubberized section, so that's going to protect it a bit, but I'd still be quite careful not to scratch that front screen. Titanium bezel, and that will go underneath this overmolded rubberized section. The overall build is good and strong, very solid. There's no movement around. I have had dive computers where things rattle around on the inside, which isn't a good sign, but in the DSX, no, very strong and tough. It feels strong and rugged. Yeah, 3-button user interface, so you've got left, right and center. On the underside you have the mounting points, so twin elastic straps, and then the 4 mounting holes for that bungee loop. On this side we have the charging port, and where you can connect the oxygen analyzer as well. Otherwise you're just putting it on top of that charging mat. Nothing on the other side. That's probably a sensor or just detailing. And then yeah, we get to the screen itself. So you have the battery level on the top right hand corner. You have, in this case, the gradient factor on the right hand side, but you can swap that between two different settings, and then when you're actually in the water there'll be one on the other side, and that will be for your ascent rate. This is kind of how the information is going to be displayed on the screen, and if you press the right hand button you can cycle through auxiliary information underneath. If you hold it down, that will get through to the compass menu. And the compass, pretty simple. You can see it already has a bearing in mind, and at about 22 degrees. But if you just press the right hand section, you can remove that, or you can set a new one. And then if you turn it, it's probably a bit unhappy about my setup because there's lots of electronics around, so the magnets don't work quite right. But yeah, it is pretty easy to understand, and it's color coded as usual. But back to the main screen, and then if you want to see the GPS, so that's the two buttons, the center and the left button, to hold those down. That will get you into the GPS menu, where you can start to get current location. Wayfinder is if you have saved locations inside of it, it will direct you which way to go, and then you can delete locations if you have one saved and you don't want it anymore. Heading back, so this is what I mean when each of the buttons has its like information, what the button will do if on the screen. So the right hand button, if you press it you get the tick, which is like a select. If it's got two circles, it means it's a hold. So if you hold down the right hand button, there's a little home in there, so it will take you home, down, up, or back. So let's go back, so hold it all the way, it takes you back home. Press the central button, it takes you through to the menu. Gas switch is the first one, so we can go into there, and then you have all the different gas mixes that you have set up. This is quite a nice feature that I like, is that the this top gas, verging on dangerous, so it's highlighted in yellow just to make you aware that it's okay, but do be careful if you're switching to this gas. And you can switch all of those. If you do want to set up gases, then hold down the left and the right, and this is where we can calibrate using the oxygen sensor, and that plugs in, and then you can calibrate it, then analyze it. It has to be done with a very specific one. I'm not entirely sure why, but it is basically you do have to keep your own one, and that's sort of always paired with your DSX. So if we go back to the menu structure, have a quick nose around the menu. Up and down buttons, very easy to navigate. And if we're just going to set menu, have a look around, set gases, dive settings, alarms, device settings. It is very intuitive, and it spells everything out nice and easy. And you can actually, if you wanted to, if I just go back, go to display settings, and you can change brightness, auto dim, titles color. If you don't like the cyan, then you can change it through a few different colors, different languages as well. You can flip the screen, so if you want the buttons on the other side, in this case on the top, then you can do that. And the main display, we can cycle through different information that you have in that third row. You can have, well, we go into it, I can show you. So GTR, that'll be gas time remaining, I imagine. You can have it blank. O2 sat, gradient factors, your ceiling, maximum depth, all sorts of information, average depth, time, and that way you can sort of personalize it for the information that you actually want, where you want it. So in this case, it's got GTR and O2 sat, and that's in this like third row. Another useful one is slates. So slates are something that you can upload. I haven't done any on this yet, unfortunately, and you can basically upload images through the app, and then that way you can refer back to it. So if you take notes, then you can write down different compass bearings, or like fish ID, I guess. You can only have up to, I think it's 10 of these, but you can also have like yes, no, and just common responses to certain questions or whatnot, so that you can flash them up to your buddy, or yeah, something that you can refer back to, like your dive tables and your dive plan, so you can refer back to it, and it's all digital on your dive computer.
But in general, yeah, very easy to navigate. The screen itself you can see quite easily from a few different angles. I know that you'll start to see my light flash up there, but yeah, you can still read it from a pretty acute angle, and yeah, to navigate it, very nice and simple. You got the menu structure, and it's always like up, down, select. Yeah, very intuitive controls on the inside.
So who's the DSX for? The DSX follows Apex's technically inspired tagline. So the DSX is really aimed more at the serious technical diver who needs a powerful tool to keep up with them and make their diving easier and safer. One of the nice features is in the gas switching menu, where the DSX lists available gases and it color codes each of them so that you get an extra sense of security when you're switching gases. As far as dive modes, the DSX is one of the most comprehensive computers out there. The only mode that it doesn't have is free diving, but apnea is quite rare on most large screen dive computers anyway. But if you dive open circuit air, nitrox, trimix, singles, twins, side mount, closed circuit rebreather, with a bailout, with or without an algorithm, the DSX has you covered. And with extra features like GPS, integrated O2 analyzer, wireless charging mat, wireless air integration, the DSX really is at the forefront of modern dive computer technology. Right now, the DSX will set you back £1,125, which does put it in the premium range of dive computers. And is it worth it though? If you're a technical diver who needs a serious dive computer, then you should recognize the quality and the value of a dive computer like this. It certainly isn't aimed at like open water divers or casual like once a year holiday divers. You can certainly buy this when you're very first starting out and just dive it on air, but it'll be a really big investment in your diving career, and it will be the one and only dive computer that you're ever going to need, but only if you intend to use the technical diving features. So yeah, it's more for really serious scuba divers who are going into technical diving and do need all of that just technical features on the inside. For more casual recreational divers, it's probably going to be a bit much. But let me know down in the comments what you think about the Apeks DSX. I'll pop a link up here that links to one of our affiliates so you can check out the DSX and buy it from them. Otherwise, please like the video, subscribe to the Scuba Diver Magazine channel, and if you do have any questions about the DSX or anything else, then throw them down in the comments section under this video. Thank you for watching, everybody, and of course, safe diving.